everyone, welcome back to my channel. Look, I've got a new one. I treated myself to a schipper. This is very exciting. Possibly not for everybody else, but schipper are kind of, well, from what I've heard, are a very, very, very good brand of paint by numbers. So this is just a little one. Look, it actually fits in. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to open this up. We're going to have a look at it. Then I am going to swatch the colours. And then, so that's going to be like the first video. And then the next one, I think I'm going to try, because it's small enough to fit in the frame like this. I'm going to try doing it in time lapse, she says. But for now, let's just get into this box. It's arrived all the way from Germany, although I bought it from Amazon. So this one was £17, including the delivery, because I've got Prime at the moment, so yay, even better. Okay, let's have a look. So this is completely different because it's a board. Put that over there. Okay, so this is what we get. So the first thing I notice is these paint pots are a lot bigger. Okay, let me bring you one of my old ones out. So that is what I would get with my other paints. So they're nearly double the size. And yet this is less than half the size of what I've been trying to achieve with the others. So that's a good start. Let's have a look. So that's all in one pack. And we've got, okay, so we've got a brush and we've got numbers. My German is not that great. I'm not, but I kind of get what it's talking about, the brush care here, about cleaning your brush. And making sure you reshape it. I actually use face wipes. So I clean my brush off in water and then I wipe my brush on the damp face wipe to condition it and repoint it. Because that's what Melanie B recommended and she has been right. That's worked really, really well. I haven't had fluffy brushes. Right. One thing I do know from her channel as well is the fact that the pots don't come pre-numbered. Okay, so you get an A, B, C, D, and then the numbers, you have to stick them on. I'm going to come to that in a minute. This just looks like a catalogue of all the ones. I love these triptychs. Wow, look at that range. These are all the different ones. It hasn't got... Oh, I really like the look of that one. There. We haven't decided which triptych I'm going to do. I am going to do a triptych at some point, but I wanted to have like a smaller one. I want to get used to the different technique. I want to get used to, well, everything really, because it's completely different. Oh, okay. So that is our board. So it is time. Look at it. It's so eco. I am conscious of the fact that my hair is potentially in this shot. I'm just going to move this over a little bit more. There we go. Yeah, that really is. I mean, normally, as you've seen, my board takes up all of my space. So that is really nice and little, which is what I wanted, because the other ones I do, they take weeks and weeks and weeks. But yeah, and it's a nice, it's a thick board. Look at that. It's a really thick board. And it's not dark. It's a nice light grey. The numbers are easy to read as well. And there doesn't look to be any really horrific bits. There's lots of small bits, but I don't mind that actually. Because obviously I'm used to doing such big spaces. yeah, I wanted something that was a little bit more ickle. So I'm just going to move that over there a little bit. And I'm going to come back and I'm going to have a look what we've got in the pack. Let me grab my scissors again. Like I said, I have never purchased a schipper before. Anybody, if you watch these types of videos, you will see people unboxing these all the time. But this is new to me. Very new to me. Really nice. So how many paints have we got? 2, 4, 6, 8, 12, 16 paints. Ooh, look at those. That's some nice colours. Now, it'll be interesting to see what these three are like, because if you saw my last paint by numbers, I had those three colours, and those two in the previous brand were an absolute nightmare. They were so translucent. They caused me nothing but pain and suffering. Likewise was the blue, that is also very similar to that. So I am interested to see what those ones are going to be like. Okay, and then we get the destruction manual, as I call them. So we get a copy of, so this tells us what number what is going to be for the pots to put our labels on. A is number 1. So, okay, and then of course we've got a guide then to refer back to if we happen to cover up a number or something, you know. Mistakes happen, I can tell you they do. They do happen. They certainly did on my last one. And then, yeah, we get a destruction manual. Okay, it's in lots of different, so we've got, isn't it, that looks like a matchstick, but we're not going to set the paint on fire. I think that's supposed to be the stirring stick. Yeah. I'm sorry. That just tickled me. So, Deutsch, English. Way, here we go. Sorry, I'm reading. Okay, the viscosity of the paints is to be correct except before painting. Stick a match in. Oh, it is a match. Stick a match into the paint and remove it slowly. A small drop will come up with the match. If this drop remains visible for a long time, after having dropped back onto the surface, the paint is too thick and must be thinned. Add water drop by drop by using your brush and stir. Proceed with the thinning of the paint step by step until the paint drop will immediately flow back into the paint's surface after removal of the match. But be careful, the paints must not be too thin either, or they will lose their opacity. However, it is quite normal that the opacity of light colours is less than dark colours. So Melanie B was saying that it's about the opacity because they were adding water to it, whereas she uses Flow Aid, which thins the paint but doesn't dilute the paint. I know we're all going to get bored of me saying that, but that's what she was saying. And yeah, so they even tell you how to prepare the paints. Painting with a toothpick. Interesting. Very small areas can also be painted by means of a toothpick. This works even better if the toothpick is inserted into a lead holder. Lead holder? Lead holder? I don't know what that is. No clue. Until the paint is applied is enough when the wet It shines and bulges like a blister. Ah, okay, so it does tell you if it's exposed to it. So this is the flow technique, and this is what I was talking about. Paint must be worked off line by line from top to bottom horizontally when the paint. Okay, I am going to read the rest of this because that's actually quite interesting. I like this because no other brand that I have purchased so far has actually given me instructions on what we're supposed to do. But as we're now 10 minutes into this video and I haven't yet done anything, we're going to move on, and I am going to test some paints. First of all, I'm going to get them all numbered up, and then I'm going to swatch them onto the sheet so we can see roughly what the opacity is going to be like before I do anything with them. So just straight out the bat, what they are like. Okay, so I have labelled my pots. I'm going to try not to throw everything all over the place. Let's have a look what they're like. Okay. I'm going to just get a little stirring stick. Okay. So that one is quite a thick one. It definitely doesn't fall off my stick. I mean, it does eventually. There we go. But that's still a bit thick. That one. Which is fine, because I'll come to watering them down in due course when I'm actually ready to start painting. I'm just going to make a right mess now, because, you know, I do. It's me. When do I not make a mess? Okay, but I thought I'd open that one and show you what it's like. Let's just clean that up a bit. More messes already. Right, number one. Honestly, sometimes looking at these, it's like trying to find where's Wally. What's the bet in there? Just there's like one number one somewhere. I can't see one. Ah, there we go. There's a number one. Let's go with this one. Now this is just brushing it on, because the technique they use is different. Which is more pooling the paints on. So you do kind of more of that technique. But obviously I'm not going to, because it's paper and that's all going to go very, very wrong. Okay, so they're already, that feels nice. It's not thin enough for the technique, so I will need to thin it down. But that's not bad. I'm quite happy about that. I'm not going to sit here and swatch all of them. I will show you afterwards once I have swatched them all. Unless we want to sit and watch me swatch them. I don't know. These are the ones I am interested in, though. These are the ones I want to have a look at. In particular, I'm going to go with number 9. Oh, I like how the pot actually stays open as well. Again, I'm going to give it a mix. Now that one is a lot thinner. Do you see that that's not as lumpy as number 1? Still not thin enough because it's not coming off my brush quickly. My stirrer. See? So it is. Okay. This is where I'm going to make a mess. But you do get a lot of paint, and I like that. I'll clean that off. Yeah, you can see I'm going to get messy. Right, number 9. Let's find a number 9. Look at that, I put the paint pot right on top of the one I just did, just to be super helpful there. There we go, there's a number 9. Complete mess there, Sharon. Okay, so it is still, you know, rather translucent. Had a nice blob there, which has covered that nicely. I'm pretty certain if I blobbed it here, that will cover that quite well as well. Okay, so yeah, it is still quite a translucent colour, so that is, it must be something to do with that particular colour, that pigment that causes it. But because we're going to use the flow technique, it possibly won't be so much of an issue. So all I'm doing there, cleaning my brush, and then I use my little face towel and I just repoint it. Ta-da! The brush is nice though. It's nice and light, really light, compared to like some of the watercolor brushes. If you look at the size difference of them, even the handles, you see, they're a lot more weighty. That's quite nice. I like that. Right. I'm going to do the rest of them, and I'm going to mark up these pots, and I'm just going to run through them with you in a moment. Okay, so I have swatched the colours. I have marked on my sheet which ones are the translucent ones. Translucent ones. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 out of the 24. Now, there's two it's a little bit daunting because, again, that's quite a lot of translucent ones. However, I have swatched them on here, which is black. Okay, if I bring the board in, you'll see it is a completely different shade. And I don't think some of them are going to have or show up like they are currently on here, because some of them are very close. You see, like number 12? Yeah. So number 12, I've marked it because I can still see the number through, but I don't think you're going to see it on this one at all. Which is basically what I had to do with my previous paint by numbers. I kind of had to dull down, but when I did that, you couldn't see the numbers underneath, and it meant that I was working from the sheet a lot, which also created its own difficulties, and it made the job a lot more difficult than it was. The second thing is that I have just painted these on. I have not used the flow technique. I have not prepared the paints for the flow technique and used that method. So I am hoping, fingers crossed, that some of these are not going to be a problem. Okay, number 6, which is a red. As I said before, red is always just notoriously a difficult one. But I can cope if it's just, I think because it's small cells as well that we're filling in, that makes it a bit easier. The 21 frightens me, but 21 was one that wasn't a translucent colour, so I am hopeful. Yeah. So it says basically to start with the background first and work your way forwards. In the description, I'm not necessarily sure. I tend to work from this corner, and then I'll do a bit over there, here, and then I go to there, and then I go to there. No, sorry, I go there, and then I go to there, and then I'll go up again. So I kind of make a little dance round. So that's dry by the, drying whilst I move to this section, then this is dry, and then by the time I get back up to there, it's dry, so I can start the next one. So the other thing I would say, though, is even just swatching these, the paints feel so different. Like, it's really hard to describe because it's a feel, right? But when I used the other paints in the other kit, it was fighting. Like, the paint didn't want to glide across. Okay, it was, it really fought me, and I had to really change the consistency of those paints to get them to work better. But then when they started to flow, they didn't quite have the opacity that they had before. It really was a fight all the time. Whereas these, they just swatched beautifully. There was no fight whatsoever. I used their brush. This is nice. I like this brush. I like it. I mean, the whole thing about using a toothpick to outline, I don't think I've got the patience to even do that. It's just not going to happen. I'm going to use their brush to do this. I have got more brushes coming because I have trashed. Well, I haven't trashed it, but yeah, I did. So I had got some watercolor brushes. So these ones, like I say, these are, you see what I mean? This one has been well used now. I don't know what it is about the other paints, but they almost like, I don't know, they just don't seem to want to come out the brushes very well. So yeah, it will be interesting to see how this one goes. But I mean, that's a nice colour palette. There's so many vibrant colours, actually. I did think this one might be a little bit more, because when you see the picture, I'm bringing the picture in, so it looks nice, bright, but a lot of the times when you see the picture of the paint by number, the reality of it is very different. But this all looks very much the colours that are on the box are what we've got. So I'm really impressed with that. I'm very happy. Now let's see if I can make this look the same as that, if not potentially even a little bit better than that. I don't know. We can but hope. So join me for the next video when I'm going to start doing some painting. But that is it for now on my first look at my first shipper and my fun for today. Thanks very much for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.